So from there, I decided to go to law school because I said, okay, if I do this or take this route, I can do something that matters.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another video of Tea Time with Letitia on Gratified Grad, where it's my goal to help you graduate with gratification. Today's drink is not really a tea per se. I am drinking lemon water with ginger. So, I mean, I guess I steep the ginger, but it's not necessarily like a herbal or leaf or green leaf tea. And with that, I am going to let today's guest introduce himself.
Hello, everybody. I'm JD Coaxum from Mobile, Alabama. As you can see, I'm not drinking tea at all today, so sorry to ruin the party. But um, I'm from Mobile. I went to school here in Mobile, born and raised. Went to Murphy High School.
Go
Graduated
Panthers.
from there. Yep. Graduated from there. I went to Troy my first year in college, and then I transferred to Shaw University, where I graduated with my bachelor's. And I was transferring around because I was a football player. I was following the scholarship money, so I just kind of followed the money on that. But after that, I decided to go to law school in Birmingham. Graduated from Birmingham School of Law. So now I'm back in Mobile practicing law. Got my own firm, and it's going pretty good.
So I have a curiosity question before we really get into the conversation. But what made you go from whatever you were studying in undergrad to deciding you wanted to do law? Or was law always on your mind?
I would say law was always in the back of my mind. It wasn't always in the front of my focus, but initially, when I went to college, I was 18, just like most people are. And I don't think at 18, you know 100% what it is you want to do in life. So at that point in time, to be blatantly honest, I was just looking at, getting into a better situation. I come from a middle class family. I had everything I needed, but not a whole bunch of, the extra things that people want. So I was looking at it from a dollars and cents perspective. And so I decided to take up computer science because I heard they make decent money, and, school was never a problem for me. So I did computer science in my undergrad. And after I finished, I had a tough time finding a job in that field. So I took a year off, and I was always thinking about law this whole time. But I took a year off searching for jobs, couldn't find what I really wanted to find. And during that time, it kind of hit me that even if I did find a job in that field, it would just be a job, and I went into that with the wrong perspective from the jump. It was about money. It was about dollars. And, I didn't want just a job, so to speak. I wanted to do something that mattered, at least to me. So from there, I decided to go to law school because I said, okay, if I do this or take this route, I can do something that matters. I can do something that makes some kind of difference. And on top of that, when I finished, I never applied for a job as an attorney because I had gone through that. I kind of wanted to do things my own way the second time around. So I opened my own firm, joined my brother who was already practicing. And we've been kind of doing our own thing since then.
Wow. It sounds like you figured out earlier on that money is not the end all be all.
I would say that I figured out that chasing money is not the way to go. We all love money. Money, in my opinion, represents freedom. And the way things are kind of set up nowadays, the more money you have, typically the more freedom you have to, move about and do pretty much whatever it is you may or may not want to do. But I found out that money isn't everything. It's not. There are things that are much more important than money, and you also want to be doing what you want to do to make that money. So you don't want to make a bunch of money doing something that makes you miserable.
Right.
Even if you do want to make good money, make sure it's doing something that, you know, when you go home and look in the mirror, you can be proud of yourself, because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. That's the only thing that's important.
Right. I totally agree with that. And like, as I was just telling you, like, and even resonating with what you said at 18, you really don't know what you want to do or what you want to be.
It's okay.
Yes, and that is okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So I was good at science. Like I could do the biology work, I could do the lab work, I could follow the directions. And so that's why, and I also had an interest in just understanding the body. Like there was that natural curiosity there. But I didn't realize until maybe 2 or 3 years ago that I don't actually want a career in science. And I mean, granted, it took me a lot longer to get to that point to realize like I'm going through undergrad and I'm pretty much done with my PhD at this point. But it's still okay. And I just want to emphasize that, you know, when you find out what your actual passion is, make that change. Like a number of people have talked about so far that I've had as guests, you know, they change when they see that, you know, this is no longer what is for me. And
Well, no, I was another thing I'll add to that is some people feel like, you know, just because they decided to switch lanes or change their focus, they feel like the time spent on the original focus was wasted time. I like to correct that, because it's not wasted time, because sometimes had it not been for that experience, you never would have had the mind to want to switch gears. You know, you may have always thought that that's what you wanted to do. You wouldn't have known that, you know, unless you gave that a try. And I think that has a lot to do with building character. So without that part of your journey, you're not really the person that you are today. So you kind of need to go through those things to get you to the next level. So it's not a waste of time. It's not a waste at all. It's just a growing experience. And you just got to learn to embrace that.
yes, I think that's the best way. And I would say that's the only way to really go about embracing changes as they come, because life is full of changes. I want to know a little bit more about, because it takes about your business and the initiation or the birth of that, because it takes a bit of initiation on your part to decide that I'm going to figure out how to navigate this business world. And I'm not sure if you had examples or, you know, people who you were close to that you could go talk to and say, hey, can you walk me through this process? So how was that for you?
To be honest, I had, you know, my brother was an attorney, and I knew a few attorneys in the Birmingham area from when, you know, I was in law school, but I had people that I could look to and, you know, ask for advice. And, but I'm kind of a different type of person, and I wouldn't really recommend this to everybody, but I decided I wanted to do it my own way. You know, I wanted to learn from my own mistakes. I like to do things myself. And you know, the entire time I was in law school, the entire time from the day I decided to go to law school, I knew that I didn't want a job in the field. You know, I knew I wanted to be the business. You know, I wanted to be the business. And if the business and when the business grew, I wanted to run the business. I wanted to be in full control of that. So that made it a lot easier for me, because at that point, you know, there's not a blueprint that I have to follow. I can do things my way. You know, I can do things the way that I see fit, or the way that I think. Maybe I think other people should be doing things differently, especially considering that in the field I'm in, you know, I'm a young Black man, relatively speaking. You know, in terms of being an attorney, I'm a young Black attorney. So we do things differently than your traditional attorney, which, you know, a lot of people might not want to admit it, but if I describe, you know, an attorney, if I describe an attorney to you, most people immediately in your mind, if I don't give you physical characteristics, you'll think of an older white male. And, you know, that's just kind of how it is. And they kind of dominate that field, and they dominate a lot of fields. We know that. But because of that, it opened a lane for me to kind of do things my way and to kind of appeal to different people and to kind of make different people feel more comfortable working with me, make them feel that I can relate to them better, which I do. And, you know, I just kind of took that approach when I was going about it. So because I was going to take my own approach, I didn't really want advice from other people. And I don't take a lot of advice, you know, because at the end of the day, the decisions that I make, you know, I have to live with them. So I don't take a bunch of advice, and I don't really ask for a bunch of insight on things when I'm making major decisions. That way I know that when I make decisions, they are 100% my decisions and not really based on the influence of other people. But like I said, you know, I preface that to say that, you know, I don't know if that's the best way to go about things. And I wouldn't really recommend that to everybody, but that just worked for me.
Well, it sounds like you're very confident in yourself and you make calculated decisions. You're not just an impulse decision maker. What would you say has been the most unique thing about you being a lawyer?
I would say the most unique thing is that I didn't necessarily change who I was, so to speak, in order to fit into the profession. So, you know, I am who I am, and I was who I was. So I never really switched things up. A lot of times, you know, if I'm walking around in street clothes, I've actually walked by court personnel and people that I know from, you know, practicing, and they don't recognize me outside of court, you know, because I kind of blend in with the public a little bit more. And I don't really have this attorney look. Is actually something I'm proud of. I don't want to look like a lawyer, but I would say that's the most unique thing. I don't really look like an attorney. I've heard it a lot of times. I don't really know what that's supposed to mean, but I don't, you know. So I didn't change when I became a lawyer. Like I said, I was a football player first. So I was an athlete, and, you know, I took that, and I always had the mindset to do this, but I probably still look more along those lines than I do like an attorney. But it is what it is, and it makes people comfortable with me. Try to stay down to earth and relatable, and it's working for me so far. So I don't have any complaints about that.
And I think that's very important. One of the first things that kind of like turns people off from joining a particular field is that they don't see someone who looks like them, or they don't see how they can fit into that setting. So to hear like you say that, you know, you never had the want to fit into any particular setting, you just wanted to go in. You knew what you were interested in, and you knew your own capabilities, and you knew where you wanted to grow and everything else. And that's all that mattered. And
Yep.
another reason for this, like for me doing these YouTube videos and this channel, is to show that there is no particular look for anywhere that you want to go. They try to, you know, make a standard and put all these rules in place to force people into a certain box. But I really appreciate those who just decide that, you know, I'm capable of being anywhere regardless of how I look.
Absolutely. I hate, you know, when people try to box you in. It's something that I don't agree with at all. And, you know, I'm much more than what meets the eye. And I don't, you know, I'll never fit into any particular box. I mean, I don't fit into the attorney box because I have investments. You know, I have real estate investments. I've got cryptocurrency investments. You know, people that I know through those avenues will tell you that, you know, I'm a real estate investor. You know, people that I know from court will tell you that I'm an attorney. Some people will tell you, oh, yeah, that's my buddy. We, you know, trade secrets on cryptocurrency. Some people will tell you that, you know, we play video games together. Hey, that's my buddy. We play Madden together. Like, you know, it's, you know, I don't want to be boxed in. I'm all of those things. So, yeah, it's okay to be yourself. And I'm just out here being uniquely me. That's all I know how to do.
And just as a final question is in this, is there any tip or any information that you want to give someone who is trying to remain themselves authentically in this society where they're always trying to box us into somewhere?
I don't know if I have advice on that, but all I can say is it's very, very, very easy to be yourself. And it's very difficult to portray something that you're not. And a lot of people can see through that. So being yourself will actually make you stand out more than wanting to be like everybody else. And you always want to stand out if you can. You don't want to fit in. You know, if you're fitting in, you're getting lost in a crowd. And if you want to excel at whatever it is you're doing, or if you want to rise to the top of that, you know, whether it's a profession or whatever it is that you're doing, you want to excel and you want to stand out. And one of the easiest ways to stand out is by being yourself. And that's pretty much all I can tell you in regards to that. You know, it works for me. I do me and it works.